Pooh Shiesty, the back-in-blood superstar who the world thought was 10 days away from a homecoming, just turned his own trial into a crime scene. Reports are flooding in that Shiesty didn't just get angry, he went for the kill. He lunged across the defense table, chains rattling, and brutally attacked his own father, Lantrell Williams Sr., after a shocking betrayal that has left the legal world paralyzed. The screams, the blood on the legal documents, the sound of U.S. Marshals hitting the floor, it's all being suppressed, but we have the inside scoop. You won't believe the words that triggered the massacre. If you think you've seen betrayal before, you have seen nothing yet. Stay locked in, because this story just took a turn so dark, it might be the end for everyone involved. To understand how a father and son ended up in a high-speed collision in a federal courtroom, we have to pull back the curtain on the Williams legacy. In the streets of Memphis, the name Lantrell Williams wasn't just a name, it was a brand. Before Pooh Shiesty was the face of 1017, before Back in Blood was blasting from every car window in America, he was a student of the game, and his father, Lantrell Williams Sr., was the ultimate professor. For years, the industry looked at them as the gold standard of loyalty. Sr. wasn't just a father figure. He was the strategist. When Shiesty was rising through the ranks of the Memphis underground, it was Sr. who allegedly cleared the paths and handled the street politics. When Shiesty signed that life-changing deal with Gucci Mane, Sr. was right there in the room, vetting the contracts and ensuring the Williams name was protected. They moved like a single unit, one brain, two bodies. But as the fame grew and the millions started rolling in, the foundation began to rot from the inside out. The first cracks appeared during Shiesty's previous legal battles. While Shiesty was doing his time in Pennsylvania, insiders report that the family business was becoming a one-man show run by Sr. Whispers started circulating in Memphis that the money wasn't adding up. We're talking about massive amounts of jewelry, cash reserves, and royalty checks that seemed to vanish. Shiesty, trapped behind bars and relying entirely on his father for information, remained loyal. He pushed back against anyone who suggested his father was anything less than solid. But the feds? They were watching the tension build. They knew that loyalty is a luxury, and in a federal case, luxury is the first thing to go. The April 1st raid in Cordova was the catalyst. When the FBI swarmed that $650,000 mansion with flashbangs and tactical gear, the world saw a unified front. But behind the scenes, a psychological war was being waged. The feds didn't just arrest a father and son, they presented them with a prisoner's dilemma. They showed Lantrell Sr. the math: kidnapping, armed robbery, and conspiracy, charges that carry a mandatory minimum of life in a cage. They looked at a man in his late 50s and asked him if he wanted to die in a concrete box or if he wanted to see the sun again. At the same time, the relationship between Shiesty and Gucci Mane was deteriorating. The contract dispute that led to the Dallas studio incident was allegedly fueled by Sr.'s advice. Reports suggest that Sr. was the one whispering in Shiesty's ear, telling him he was being cheated, pushing him toward that fateful confrontation. It was a setup within a setup. Every move Shiesty made, from the Staples trip to the AK-style pistol, was reportedly documented and encouraged by the very man who was supposed to protect him. By the time they walked into that courtroom today, the bond was already severed. Shiesty had spent months hearing rumors that his father was talking to the prosecution. He had seen the letters, he had felt the change in energy during their brief meetings. But he never thought it would come to this. He never thought his own father would stand on the side of the government to bury him. This wasn't just a trial anymore. It was the final chapter of a betrayal that had been brewing for 3 years. The stage was set for a disaster, and when the prosecutor opened that folder, the Williams legacy didn't just break, it exploded. The atmosphere inside the Dallas federal courthouse this morning was suffocating. Every seat was filled with journalists, high-level industry executives, and family members who had flown in from Memphis, expecting a routine hearing. Pooh Shiesty entered the room looking sharp, his eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on his father, Lantrell Williams Sr., sitting just a few feet away at the defense table. For a split second, there was a nod, a silent acknowledgement of this street code that had supposedly kept them solid for decades. But as the lead federal prosecutor rose to address the court, the energy in the room shifted from tension to pure, unadulterated horror. The prosecutor didn't start with the Dallas studio surveillance or the fingerprints found on the cups. Instead, he pulled a thick, blue folder from his briefcase, Exhibit 22C, a document labeled Voluntary Proffer Statement. The prosecutor looked directly at the jury and began to read with a cold, calculated tone. According to the sworn testimony of defendant number 2, Lantrell Williams Sr., the entire operation on January 10th was orchestrated without his prior knowledge. Sr. claims he was merely a driver, coerced by his son's aggressive demands. He states that the AK-style pistol used to threaten Roderick Davis, also known as Gucci Mane, was provided and concealed by Pooh Shiesty himself. The courtroom went dead silent. You could hear the mechanical hum of the air conditioning. Shiesty froze. His head turned slowly, like a predator spotting a betrayal in the tall grass, toward his father. Sr. didn't look back. He stared at the mahogany table, his hands trembling. The insider reports coming out of that room say Shiesty's breathing became so heavy it was picking up on the court's audio recording system. But the prosecutor wasn't done. He dropped the ultimate bombshell, the twist that turned a legal battle into a family execution. Furthermore, the prosecutor continued, Mr. Williams Sr. has provided the government with a digital ledger recovered from a cloud account, which details a secondary plot to extort music executives in New York, a plot he attributes entirely to his son's leadership. Boom. The gallery erupted. This wasn't just a snitch statement. This was a father burying his son under a mountain of fresh federal charges, just to save his own skin from a life sentence. Sr. hadn't just talked. He had brought receipts for crimes the feds hadn't even discovered yet. At that exact moment, the code died. Something snapped inside Pooh Shiesty. He didn't wait for his lawyer to object. He didn't wait for the judge to gavel for order. In one explosive, blurred motion, Shiesty stood up. Despite the heavy shackles on his wrists and the chains around his waist, he vaulted over the defense table with a primal roar that shook the windows of the courthouse. He didn't just punch his father. He launched a full-scale, life-ending assault. He tackled Sr. to the ground, the sound of their bodies hitting the hardwood floor echoing like a gunshot. Shiesty began raining down blows with his cuffed fists, his face contorted in a mask of pure, demonic rage. He screamed at the top of his lungs, a cry of betrayal that silenced the entire building. You did the robbery, and now you're pinning it on me? You sold your own son for a deal. I'll kill you before the feds take me. The chaos was absolute. The judge was frantically hammering the gavel, screaming for a code-red lockdown. U.S. Marshals rushed the floor, but Shiesty was possessed by a level of strength that seemed superhuman. He was trying to wrap his heavy steel chains around his father's throat. Blood was everywhere. Sr.'s nose was shattered, his glasses were crushed into the floor, and his head hit the corner of the witness stand with a sickening thud. It took 6 marshals, 2 taser deployments, and a physical struggle that lasted 3 minutes to finally pry Shiesty off his father. As they dragged him out, his orange jumpsuit was stained with his father's blood, and he was still screaming, his voice cracking with the pain of a son who had just realized his hero was a snake. But here's the kicker, the twist that makes this even more sinister. As the medical team rushed in to put Lantrell Sr. on a stretcher, a small, black object fell out of the father's suit pocket. It wasn't a pen. It wasn't a phone. It was a covert federal recording device. The realization hit the room like a tidal wave. The feds hadn't just gotten a statement. They had been wiring the father for weeks, sending him into private meetings with his son's legal team to gather evidence. The betrayal wasn't a one-time event in court. It was a months-long, calculated sting operation orchestrated by the man who gave Pooh Shiesty life. The attack wasn't just a fight. It was a man trying to destroy the evidence of his own father's ultimate treachery. Within 30 minutes of the Dallas federal courthouse going into a code-red lockdown, the digital world didn't just catch wind of the story, it caught fire. This wasn't just a local news report anymore. This was a global trending topic that paralyzed the music industry. But while the mainstream media was busy reporting on a family dispute, a leaked image surfaced on a private, encrypted Telegram group that changed the entire narrative of the trial. The image, allegedly snapped by a terrified courthouse staffer during the scuffle, showed the blood-stained floor of the defense area and a crumpled, yellow legal pad. This wasn't just any piece of paper. Zoomed-in shots of the document revealed a signature that sent shockwaves through the 1017 fan base. It was a pre-indictment cooperation agreement, dated March 15, 2026, weeks before the massive FBI raid on the Cordova home ever happened. This is where the escalation turns into a nightmare. The realization hit the internet like a tidal wave. Lantrell Williams Sr. didn't just decide to snitch once he was caught. He had been working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation as a confidential human source for months. The terrifying 6 a.m. raid that the world watched in horror? It was a staged event. Sources are now claiming that Sr. allegedly moved his personal assets and key evidence out of the house 24 hours before the flashbangs went off, leaving his son, Pooh Shiesty, to be the only one caught in the crosshairs of the tactical teams. The snake document suggested that Sr. wasn't just saving his own skin. He was actively building a RICO case against the entire 1017 label infrastructure. He was the Fed's Trojan horse, sitting at family dinners and strategy meetings with Shiesty's legal team, all while wearing a wire and documenting every move for the DOJ. The social media explosion was instantaneous and brutal. A high-profile industry insider on Twitter posted a thread that went viral in seconds, claiming the father's betrayal wasn't about fear. It was about a deep-seated financial revenge. Allegedly, Sr. had discovered that Shiesty was planning to move his business assets into a private trust that excluded his father entirely. Sr., feeling pushed out of the empire he helped build, reportedly decided that if he couldn't have the millions, he would ensure his son spent the rest of his life in a federal cage. Industry giants started reacting in real time, and the backlash was unprecedented. 50 Cent reportedly posted a now-deleted meme of a king cobra with Lantrell Sr.'s face captioned, "The game is officially over." When your own father is the lead witness and a federal informant, there is no code left to follow. This is the ultimate betrayal. Meanwhile, a leaked audio clip began circulating on TikTok, purportedly from a jailhouse call between Shiesty and his mother just hours after the courtroom brawl. In the clip, a voice that sounds eerily like a broken, sobbing Pooh Shiesty is heard saying, "He looked me in my eyes every day and told me we were going home, Ma. He had a wire on him while we were praying together. He's the one who gave them the Staples receipts. He's the one who told them about the AK. My own pops set me up to die in here." But just when you thought the shock had reached its peak, a second, even more terrifying reveal hit the news wires. The Dallas Sheriff's Department reported that during the physical struggle in the courtroom, Shiesty wasn't just trying to punch his father. He was reportedly trying to swallow a small SIM card he had managed to snatch from his father's pocket during the lunging attack. Investigators now believe that SIM card contains the New York files, encrypted communications involving high-level music executives, and a second, uncharged conspiracy that could bring down some of the biggest names in the rap industry. The cliffhanger that has everyone paralyzed? The SIM card wasn't recovered. After the marshals pinned Shiesty to the floor, the card had vanished. Rumors are swirling that Shiesty didn't swallow it. He passed it to a contact in the gallery during the chaos. The feds are now reportedly reviewing every frame of the courtroom surveillance, and every person who is in that gallery is now a person of interest in a new federal obstruction case. The attack wasn't just about anger. It was a desperate, violent mission to destroy the evidence that could end the careers of everyone Shiesty ever worked with. The stakes just went from life in prison to a total industry meltdown. The digital world didn't just explode after the news of the courtroom attack. It fractured into a million pieces. Within 4 hours of the code red lockdown in Dallas, the hashtag #FreeShiesty hit #1 globally, but it was accompanied by a much darker, more sinister trend, #SnitchSenior. The hip-hop community, which has seen its fair share of snitching scandals, has never witnessed a father-son dynamic turn this lethal. The reaction wasn't just shock. It was a visceral, collective anger that permeated every corner of social media. The divide was instantaneous. On one side, a wave of Free Shiesty supporters flooded Instagram and Twitter, painting Lantrell Sr. as the ultimate villain of the culture. One viral tweet, which garnered over 500,000 likes in 2 hours, stated, "If your own father, the man who taught you the game, is the one putting the shackles on your wrists, then the streets are officially dead." Pooh Shiesty didn't just attack a witness. He attacked the man who sold his soul for a deal. But on the other side, a vocal minority of legal analysts and tough love critics began to emerge. They argued that Pooh Shiesty's crash out in the courtroom was the final proof that he was a danger to society. On a popular hip-hop podcast live stream, a host argued, "Listen, maybe Senior realized his son was out of control. Maybe he saw the life sentences coming and decided to save at least one of them." Shiesty lunging at his dad in front of a federal judge just proved every single charge the feds have against him. He just handed them the conviction on a silver platter. The industry heavyweights couldn't stay silent. 50 Cent, known for his ruthless commentary on street politics, posted a cryptic image of a snake eating its own tail, captioned, "I've seen brothers turn, I've seen friends turn, but I've never seen a pops wire up to catch his own seed. This is a cold world, and the temperature just hit zero. 1017 is under a microscope now. Who's next?" Meanwhile, Meek Mill took a more emotional stance, tweeting, "That courtroom video, you can hear the pain in his voice when he screams. That ain't just anger, that's a heartbreaking in real time. Imagine realizing the man who raised you is the lead informant. I wouldn't have just lunged. I would have lost my mind too. Prayers for Shiesty's mental state right now." The reaction from 1017 Records and Gucci Mane's camp has been a terrifying, deafening silence. Insiders report that the label is in a total state of emergency. Rumors are swirling that legal teams are scrubbing every social media post and deleting hard drives because if Lantrell Sr. has been a confidential human source for months, then everyone who sat at a table with him is now a target. A leaked memo, allegedly from a major distribution partner, surfaced on a gossip blog, suggesting that Shiesty's upcoming album is being indefinitely shelved due to the legal fallout of the courtroom assault. The public debate has turned into a civil war among fans. In Memphis, a candlelight vigil for Shiesty's freedom reportedly turned into a protest when a group of counter-protesters arrived, sparking a massive street brawl that required local police intervention. The Spilled Bars community is torn. Some are calling for a total boycott of anyone associated with Lantrell Sr., while others are terrified that Shiesty's violent reaction has doomed him to a life behind bars with no hope of appeal. But the most chilling reaction came from a leaked Twitter space where a former federal prosecutor weighed in. What the public doesn't realize is that by attacking his father, Shiesty might have inadvertently triggered a witness tampering enhancement that carries an automatic life sentence regardless of the robbery charges. He didn't just attack his dad, he attacked the government's star witness. The DOJ isn't going to let this go. They're going to make an example out of him that the music industry will never forget. The statement fueled a new wave of controversy, with fans now debating if the attack was a calculated move by Shiesty to silence his father or a genuine moment of emotional collapse. The cliffhanger that has the industry shaking? Reports are surfacing that a second, secret witness from the 1017 roster has just been spotted entering the federal building in Dallas. If Senior was the first domino to fall, the entire house is about to come down. Just as the sun began to set on the most chaotic day in legal history, a final, earth-shattering revelation emerged from the Dallas Sheriff's Department that turned this family feud into a global conspiracy. As the forensic team was processing the vehicles used by Lantrell Sr. to arrive at the court, they made a discovery that paralyzed the prosecution. Inside a hidden, magnetic compartment under the driver's seat of Senior's rental SUV, they didn't find weapons or cash. They found a high-grade, encrypted external drive labeled New York 1017 Final. This is what the streets are now calling the New York Files. Early leaks from courthouse insiders suggest this drive contains intercepted communications, wiretap transcripts, and bank records involving some of the biggest, most untouchable executives in the New York music scene. But here's the twist that makes Pooh Shiesty's courtroom attack look like a distraction. The drive wasn't encrypted by the feds. It was encrypted by Lantrell Sr. himself. It turns out, Sr. wasn't just snitching to save his life. He was double-crossing the FBI. He was reportedly holding these files as a dead man's switch, an insurance policy to ensure that if the feds didn't give him full immunity, he would leak the names of every high-level executive involved in a massive, multi-million-dollar money laundering scheme. The realization hit the DOJ like a freight train. Lantrell Sr. was playing both sides of the fence. He was a federal informant by day and a high-stakes blackmailer by night. But the most terrifying revelation came when the feds opened a second folder on that drive. It contained a set of pre-signed witness protection documents for a third person. The name on those documents? It wasn't Lantrell Sr., and it wasn't Pooh Shiesty. It was a woman's name, a person who has been a constant, silent shadow in Shiesty's inner circle for the last 3 years. A person Shiesty trusted with his passcodes, his location, and his heart. This suggests that the father wasn't just snitching to save himself. He was protecting a ghost informant who has been living inside Shiesty's camp, feeding Sr. information to feed to the feds. The courtroom attack wasn't just about the snitch statement. It's now believed Shiesty found out about this third person seconds before he lunged. He wasn't just trying to hurt his father. He was trying to get to a phone to send a warning or a hit. As Pooh Shiesty was being led to his maximum security isolation cell tonight, a leaked video from a hallway camera caught a chilling moment. Shiesty looked directly into the lens, his eyes cold and void of any emotion, and whispered a single name. A name that we cannot legally reveal yet, but a name that belongs to someone currently on the 1017 tour bus. The cliffhanger? That person has gone completely dark. Their social media is deleted, their phone is disconnected, and the feds have just issued an endangered person alert. Did Shiesty's courtroom explosion trigger a cleanup crew on the outside? Is Lantrell Sr.'s life in the medical wing now in more danger from his son's associates than from the feds? The New York files are being decrypted as we speak, and word is, when that drive fully opens, the entire rap industry is going to face a nuclear winter. The drama isn't over, it's just moved from the courtroom to the shadows. Who is the ghost informant? And who is the next name on the 1017 indictment? The clock is ticking, and the world is holding its breath. This is no longer a trial, it's a total industry meltdown. A father's betrayal, a son's rage, and a ghost informant, hiding in plain sight. We are tracking the New York files and the mysterious third person on that witness protection list as we speak. Who do you think the secret informant is? Is it someone from the 1017 roster? Drop your theories in the comments. The streets are watching. Subscribe and hit that bell now. Our emergency update on the New York files drops in 12 hours. You do not want to be the last to know. Stay locked in.